Welcome everyone for joining me. Today is Monday, and this is every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I have Christy Iwuchukwu's Brilliance TV show. So what do we do at this show? This is where we spotlight the defining moments and accomplishments of today's top business leaders, entrepreneurs, unique and most successful individuals. And that's where you come in. Why? Because without you, there cannot be this show. So I want you to be a part of this show, a part of this community. If you would love to be a guest on this show, please go ahead and email me at info@chosenpathglobal.com, info@chosenpathglobal.com, or you can also visit rockyyourbrilliance.com, rockyyourbrilliance.com, and you can get all the information to register, and I'll be sure to get back to you. I also want you to go ahead and follow me on my YouTube channel at Rock Your Brilliance. Again, Rock Your Brilliance. Also, follow me on my page at Rock Your Brilliance, at your Rock Your Brilliance on Facebook. So on to today's special guest. My goodness, I am super excited about today's guest joining us and having the time, sparing the time to join me today. So I couldn't be happier. But I want to talk to you about our guest today. Dr. Ruben West. Dr. Ruben West is our guest today. He's the CEO and founder of the Black Belt Speaker, a recognized global speaker. He is also the best-selling author. He's an epic speaker, but among everything, he is the vision breakthrough expert, a professional certified success coach, among everything. I can go on and on and on. But listen, I don't want to waste any more time. I want you to go ahead and invite your friend in, because you don't want to keep this information just to yourself. I want you to bring your pen, paper, iPad, whatever you have, because he's about to drop in some nuggets. Please help me welcome Dr. Ruben West. Dr. West?
Well, thank you for inviting me, Christy. I'm certainly privileged to be here. And it's an honor because there's people all across this country, well, really all across the globe, that are looking for next steps, motivation, inspiration, transformation. And so I thank you for being willing to help them find that through your show. So thank you very much.
All right. Dr. West, I know who you are, but there's some of us that don't know who you are. And I've always said, we hear people and we know about them when they're on top of the mountain, but we never get to see or hear how they got to be there. And there may be some people that are looking at you now and saying, oh my God, how would I get there? So can you pull the curtain just a little bit and tell us who is Dr. West and what is that defining moment for you and how did you get here?
Yeah, you know, interesting enough, Christy, to look at me now, I don't think anyone, if you go back 30 years ago, 20 years ago, I don't think there was anyone thinking that I would be where I am now. As a matter of fact, I would suggest that in a lot of ways, I would have questioned whether I would be here right now. And the reason is, when we come up, when we're going through life, there's so many obstacles and there's so many people, for a lot of us, I know it was for me, there's so many people that are there that tell you why you will never make it, why it will never work out for you, why you won't be successful. And then for me, it started when I was younger. Remember when I was in it was the 5th grade. I had a 5th grade educator who wanted me to switch from being left-handed to right-handed. She said there's no room in this world for left-handers. And so I remember trying to work every day, switching to become right-handed. And I couldn't do it. And I remember telling her, I said, I can't do it. And she said, you're a quitter and you'll never amount to anything. And I thought, well, she must know. I mean, she's worked with so many kids and she's the educator. She's the person in charge. She must know. And here's why this is important. Dr. Maxwell Maltz has a book and it's called Psycho-Cybernetics. And he said there's 3 factors that if they are present, they can cause information to be imprinted on your subconscious mind. And so I want you to write this down. Factor number one, if it's something that's said to you by an authority figure, now you have to know that this teacher, this educator was an authority figure. And then he said, if it's something that's said to you with emotion or force, Ruben, you'll never amount to anything. You're a quitter because you're not trying hard enough. There's no place in this world for left-handers. And then the third factor was if it's repeated often. He said, if you have those three factors, if it's something that's said to you by an authority figure, something that's said with emotion or force, or something that's repeated often, those things can then be imprinted in your subconscious mind. And the crazy thing about it is they come up automatically. There's nothing you have to do. So when people would say, oh, you're left-handed, I'm like, oh my God, they found me out. I would be embarrassed. And I didn't know as a child that there wasn't anything wrong with being left-handed. Now I know that the problem wasn't me. The problem was having an educator who did not know how to treat or teach left-handed students. But when you're a kid, you don't know. You don't have the wherewithal to sort it out. So you go through this life believing it. And then things pop up every once in a while that could really hold you back. So for a long time, I questioned myself. I doubted myself. I didn't ever think for a long time that I would be able to do the things that I'm doing right now.
Wow. Looking at you now, what you're really letting people to know is that everything is possible.
Exactly.
Everything is possible. So you are this successful certified success coach.
Yes.
And for everybody that is listening, you should ask, how did I get in touch with Dr. Ruben? I got in touch because he happens to be my speech coach. And really, I appreciate you so much. You so much. But tell us exactly, what do you do? And how can you help an individual take their speaking to the next level to impact more lives?
Well, one of the things I believe is that we all have a way of speaking. I call it our signature speaking style. A lot of times when people say, well, I don't speak well, I'm just not good at it. The reason they're saying it is because they're comparing it to someone else. They're not saying that they don't speak well. They're saying, I don't speak like that person over there. I don't speak like that person over there. Guess what? You're not supposed to. You're supposed to speak like you. And so one of the things I do is I give them the signature speaking style assessment, because what I want to find out is, are they naturally a motivator? Or are they naturally a drill sergeant? Are they naturally a comedian? Are they naturally a scientist? There's just different types of styles. And then once we figure out what that style is, we can build on that, and we can add elements in their presentation that will connect with other people in the audience. So one of the things I really love helping people do is figure out that you really can speak, because there's fundamentals. And once you learn the fundamentals, it makes it a lot better and a lot easier to connect with your audience. Here's another thing you have to realize. Speaking comes in layers. Like, you're not going to get it all in a day. You're going to get it. And then when you get the foundation, then it's time to go to the next level. And then when you get the foundation, it's time to go to the next level. It's just like building a building. They never build the 100th floor first. They have to start at the bottom. And guess what? There's some advanced techniques in speaking, but it really works out best when you start to master the foundation, and then you move to the next layer. So speaking comes in layers, and I believe all of us can master those initial skills, just like we master basic math or basic English and things like that. These skills can be mastered through practice.
Speaking comes in layers.
Yes.
Absolutely. So for someone who is just starting out and they want to go into speaking, what would be the foundation for them to begin with? Well,
in my opinion, the first thing I suggest that you do is you find out what you want to talk about. They have Toastmasters International. There's a lot of clubs that they can join and help them refine some of the basic techniques of speaking. There's nothing wrong with getting someone to help you with your speaking, like myself. There's plenty of people out there. Here's what I'm always going to suggest, though. The first thing I'm going to suggest is that you focus on mastering the fundamentals. And here's why I say that, Christy, because if you and I wanted to go to Harvard, or we wanted to go to Yale, or we wanted to go to Princeton. And we said, hey, I want to come to your school. And they said, no problem. Provide us your transcripts. And we said, well, what do you mean transcripts? Well, from your high school. And we said, well, we didn't graduate high school. They were like, well, what do you mean you didn't graduate high school? No, we never went to high school. Would they let us into Princeton or Yale or Harvard? No. They would say, okay, you're not ready for this right now. You have to go back and master some basics. There's some foundations that you have to learn before you can come to our program. Now, it works the same way with speaking. People want to go from never have spoken before to the international stage. Well, okay. And there's nothing wrong with having a big dream, but there's some stages that you're going to have to go through. There's some fundamentals that you're going to have to master before you get on those stages. And if you don't, you may get on there, but you won't get back on there, right? And so a lot of times I feel like we want the sixth step, and we really should be looking for the first step. And so one of the things I love doing with my training is helping people take those first initial steps. How do they get comfortable speaking? How do they come up with a topic? How do they put their voice out there? How do they use your voice as the instrument? How do you focus on the narrative of the story? The best speakers are the best listeners. How do you listen? Can you take a topic and expand on it? And it's just practice, where you get to practice again and again and again. And over time, you grow. Remember this, and if you're out there, write this down. Mastery happens over time, not overnight. And so if you see anybody who's mastered anything, whether it's basketball, cooking, speaking, fishing, I don't care what it is, it didn't happen overnight. It happened over time. And it's going to be the same thing if you want to speak. It's going to happen over time.
All right. Mastery happens over time. Mastery happens over time. Dr. Ruben, can you tell us what in your coming up to your level was really a distraction at one point?
You know, a big distraction is questioning yourself, because we wonder, can we do it? I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted to speak since I was a young kid. My mother's an associate pastor. I have four uncles that are bishops. My grandfather was a pastor, but I never wanted to preach. I wanted to speak. I wanted to talk to people. The problem is, with this teacher, I didn't think I was smart. And so I was like, well, who would listen to me? I'm not even smart. So Oprah Winfrey had a show. And on her show, she had the people on there from The Secret. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And I watched that show, and I remember hearing what they said. And they said, get this vision board and put it up and look at it. And so I got a vision board, had all these speakers on it, had me in the middle and pictures of the audience. And I put it on the vision board. And then probably after about 2 weeks, I was like, that's ridiculous. And I took it down and I threw it behind the couch because I questioned myself. See, one of the greatest things that you are going to have to face is your mindset. Now, here's the funny thing, Christy. Now that I speak, I didn't change my name. There's a lot of things I still am the same. I'm still the same Ruben. I still have the same kids. I still have the same background. What I changed was my mindset. And that mindset changed my ability to believe that I could speak. For a long time, I remember thinking back to what Miss Edwards would say. Tom Cruise had a quote in a movie, and it said, you might be through with your past, but your past isn't through with you. And so a lot of things that we experienced in the past will come back to us, and they'll come back at the wrong time to stop us from taking action. But when we work on our mindset again and again and again, and we program our mind with positivity, and we surround ourselves with people who can see things in us that we couldn't see ourselves, it allows us to change the possibility and the trajectory of our lives. And that's exactly what I did through working on my mindset.
Your past might be through with you, but you're not through with your past.
Yeah, you might be through with your past, but your past is not through with you.
It's not through with you.
And we know that because how many times do people try and remind us of our past? See, people come up, yeah, well, what do you mean, Ruben? You did this, and remember when you did that, and remember when this happened to you and you failed at that? And when you hear people come up and tell you stuff like that, you just got to remember this. You're not stuck in the past. They are. Like, I'm not thinking about that. You're bringing it up. I'm not. I'm moving ahead.
You talk about mindset, and mindset is really, I believe, plays a great importance
Yes.
in us moving forward. And I know for me, for a very long time, some of you on the call today probably have heard me talk about myself, the fact that English is my second language. And for so many years, that held me back. Why? Because I just thought everybody would be laughing at me when I speak. I just thought maybe people wouldn't want to hear me speak. But I realized that it wasn't really people, it was all about me. And when I decided to get out of my own way, when I decided to get out of my own way, when I realized that less people, nobody's really was thinking about me, it was all about my mindset. It changed everything for me. Otherwise, I would not have been able to be talking to Dr. Ruben at this point. Now, you and I met back in 2016. I have never forgotten that conversation.
Really?
First time meeting each other, we spent over an hour talking.
Yes.
And it wasn't until 2017 one thing led to another. But I don't want to say it's a coincidence, because I think it was supposed to be at that time that you and I connected and started working together. But who knew that conversation we had in 2016 would have brought us together today. And sometimes you just don't know. Just don't know. Just learn to get yourself out of the way. And that's what I've done.
Here's what you got to do, Christy, and I want you to think about this, and for the listeners, think about this. A lot of times there's things we want to do, but we're fearful. We're scared. We don't know how it's going to work. Two things I want to say. Number one, doubt causes action to fade, but action causes doubt to fade. Let me say that again. Doubt causes action to fade, but action causes doubt to fade. When you go take action, you start to realize it's not as hard as I thought it was. It's not hurting me. It's not killing me. It's not stopping me. I'm not being impinged like I thought I was going to be. Like it's in the mind. Here's another thing I want you to think about. Like fear. So many times we get caught up in fear. But fear is a small fire. But time is the wood. See, fear is a small fire, but time is the wood. The more time you go without taking action, it puts wood on the fire. And after a while, it seems so overwhelming that you don't even want to take action. And that's the key to really manifesting where you want to go, is you have to take action, because when you take action, it causes that doubt to fade. And that's what I love about you. We talked about this. We spent a lot of time together. You told me how you had just taken another program. You had went through some different things. I thought that was wonderful. But in the end, you reached out to me. You took action. And that's what I want to recommend to the people listening. If there's something you want to do, regardless of what it is, you have to take action, because fear is the flame. It's a small flame, but time is the wood. It's going to build the fear.
Time is the wood and fear is the flame.
Yep.
Everyone, we're still talking to Dr. Ruben West. And this show is every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you would love to be a guest on the show, please, you can either go to rockyyourbrilliance.com, and you'll find all the information, or you can email me at chosenpathglobal.com, chosenpathglobal.com. And don't forget to follow me on my YouTube channel at Rock Your Brilliance. YouTube channel at Rock Your Brilliance, or at my page at Rock Your Brilliance. Rock Your Brilliance. That will be at my Facebook page. Now we're switching over, talking to Dr. Ruben West. So Dr. West,
yes,
I want to know what keeps you going doing this work, this amazing work that you do, helping people. Where is the passion coming from?
Let me tell you this, Christy. This is good. I remember being in Wichita, Kansas, and it was recently after I went through a divorce, And I was working. I was busy. And this nurse came up to me. Her name was Edwina Blackman. And she said, Ruben, you're one of the best people we've ever brought in, because they brought me in from the outside. They were short staffed, so they brought in what they call travelers, contract staff. And she said, you know, you stay late, you take extra call, you come in early, you work hard, and it really makes a difference, and it really shows. You're a really, really hard worker. And the truth is, Christy, I didn't want to go to that apartment and think about my children and wonder if they were thinking about me. And so I just kept busy. And this nurse, Edwina Blackman, she said, Ruben, there's something special about you. And I said, yeah, I'm left-handed. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to say, you know, but she said, no, Ruben, there's something special about you. People will listen to you. She said, do you notice how people gather around you when you talk? And I was like, no, not really. Watch this. You can't read the label from inside the box. That a lot of times when it's something that you're doing, you don't even notice it because it's just you. It's common. She said, do you notice how people gather around you? The doctors gather around you, the nurses, the techs, when you speak? I said, no. I don't know. She said, they do. She said, Ruben, you could talk to people. You could change people's lives. And I just thought that was the most ridiculous thing I had ever heard. I was like, who does she think she is? And who does she think I am? I mean, that's ridiculous. But here's the thing, Christy. She would say it every day. Ruben, something special about you. She had this smile, and she'd always come up to me and smile. Earl Monteport said, an enthusiastic smile at the right moment may act like sunlight on a closed up flower. It just might be the turning point for a struggling life. And she didn't know it back then, but when she would just come up to me and just smile and say, Ruben, there's something special about you. You could talk to people. You could change people's lives. She didn't know it, but even though I worked in surgery, I worked in the surgery department, she was doing surgery on me. And one day I remember thinking, what if she's right? I mean, like, what if she's right? What if I really could talk to people? What if I could change people's lives? And I'm sitting here having a pity party for myself. What if I'm supposed to get myself together and step out there and go make a difference? And so I decided, wait a minute, I'm going to try it. And once I started trying it, I started seeing results. And I thought, wait a minute, there may be a lot of people out there that was stuck just like I was stuck. There may be a lot of people that need somebody to consistently say something to them like, you can be something more. You could do something different. You could talk to people. You could change people's lives. They may need me to do surgery on them mentally, just like Edwina did it for me. And so when I changed my mind, check this out. When I changed my mind, I changed my grind. I said, wait a minute, I've got to go hard. I'm behind a few years. I remember I wanted to speak a long time ago, and I threw my vision board behind the couch because I talked myself out of it. Now that I believe it, I can't stop. I won't stop. And so now what drives me, what pushes me, is there may be someone who needs my voice, who needs to hear me say, wait a minute, if I can do it, you can do it. Wait a minute, there's something that you were called to do that you think you can do, and you talk yourself out of it. Wait a minute, I've done that to myself for years. I've wasted too much time. Now I've got to be on the grind. And so what drives me, what pushes me is that I know that just like I didn't take action because I didn't believe it, there may be someone else doing the same thing. And I'm going to be that voice that they can hear on a routine and regular basis telling them, you can do it. You can do it. That's what I am
super excited. I'm so glad that we really connected, because you talk about the vision board that you were doing. I have to confess that after I met you in 2016, still have you on my vision board. Wow. It was the picture that you and Les Brown together. Yes. And I had you, but I wasn't quite sure how that was going to manifest. But I am so glad that we really connected, and I can't wait for our continued work together. So
thank you.
As we continue this conversation, what is one thing how about three things? What are 3 things that you can encourage people or tell people to do in order to get to their best self or best version of themselves. If they want to do whatever they want to do in life, whether it's speaking or not.
Or not, yeah. Three things. Number one is they have to declare it. There is a kind of language that we have that creates things. My favorite book says the power of death and life is in the tongue. As a matter of fact, Christy, you're in the United States, and our whole country is based on, watch this, the Declaration of Independence. They just declared it. Two people go and they stand at the altar, and their whole lives are changed just by making a declaration. And usually it's two words, I do, and the other person says, I do. And based on those words, what they declared, they create a whole new life for themselves. And so the first thing I feel like they could do is just declare it. They have to speak it. They have to speak what they want to do. And then here's the second thing. They have to act in accordance to what they declared. So for a husband and wife to say, I do, and the other person say, I do, all that sounds great. But then the next step is they have to do what they said they're going to do. Right? And so many times we say we want to do something and then we talk ourselves out of it. We say we want to do it and then we don't follow through with it. Imagine if we did everything we said we were going to do. When we said, I'm going to the gym 3 days a week, I'm giving up soda, I'm giving up this or that. Imagine if we actually did it. The power of death and life is actually in the tongue. And so it would be life-changing if they did it. So the first thing they have to do is declare it. The second thing, they have to act in accordance to what they declared. And then here's something else I want them to understand, that the preparation has to match the declaration. That if you're going to be excellent at something, that if you're going to go all in on something, check this out, the preparation has to match the declaration. If I said I'm going to be an international speaker, and that's what I said, then I understand that my preparation has to match that. And so many times we say we want something. We say we want to achieve something. We say we want to get to a level. But we're only given lip service because when we look at the preparation, we realize it doesn't match the declaration. And so we have to line those things up. When we want something, we have to declare it. We have to act in accordance to what we declared. And then we have to make our preparation match that declaration. I believe, I know that's simplified, but I believe that that's the step in the right direction. Then here's another thing they can do. And this is very important. I do this myself. Christy, they have to invite accountability into their lives. I mean, so many times we want to do something, we want to achieve something, and we don't invite accountability. That's the power of having an accountability partner, because they will hold you accountable to what you said, not what they said, but what you said. So inviting people who can hold you accountable in different areas of your life. Matter of fact, don't you realize that when you think about it, that's the reason programs like AA and things like that work, is because they want a sponsor. They invite somebody to hold them accountable. And then in those moments when they're feeling weak, and we all feel weak, we all feel vulnerable, we all feel low at times, but in those moments, the ability to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody that you've already set up a relationship with and say, I need you, man. I'm feeling weak right now, and I'm about to make a mistake. I need you, regardless of what you need them for. But to be able to have somebody that you set up ahead of time and say, I need you. And then they could talk through it with you. Say, hey, you don't want to do that. Or no, you said you was going to go work out. Let's go. You said you wanted to be a speaker. Come on, get those quotes in. You said you wanted this new job. Come on, let's go put in some applications. You said you wanted to get in that school. Come on, let's fill it out. Let's get those grades. If you got to take a summer school, a night class, whatever it takes, your preparation has to match your declaration. You said you were going to do it. Let's do it. That accountability at those moments when you don't feel like it, because we all have those moments, that can be the key to thinking about it and actually doing it. And so I think the last thing they do is they invite accountability. And you can do that through coaching. You can do that through mentorship. You can do that through having a trainer. But having that accountability is key. That's my suggestion.
You know, as I'm listening to you, you know, I can never get tired listening to. I can listen to you hours and hours. But there's some type of emotion that you evoke when you speak to the people listening. There's a type of, I can't explain it, and I don't know how you do it. So For someone listening to you right now and saying,
Mhm.
oh my God, I want to be just like him, or I don't really want to be him. I just want to perhaps say what I need to say, but I want to captivate the audience just like you do. What would you say to them?
It's techniques. It's that, let me tell you, Christy, I was in the Gulf War, and one of the surgeons said, I'm going to teach you how to assist in surgery. Now that I said, okay. And once he showed me some things, I said, I'm going to go back to the US and I'm going to start this surgical assistant company. I want surgeons to be able to call me and have me assist, whether it's neurosurgery, general surgery, GYN, orthopedic surgery. That was a tall tale. That was a big feat. That was, a lot of people told me, Ruben, that's never going to work. They're never going to let you do that. You don't have a degree in nursing. You don't have a degree in medicine. You're not a PA. You're not a nurse practitioner. It's never going to work. And people say, well, who's going to let you do that? My question is, who's going to stop me? And so I started studying, and I realized that it comes down to techniques. So I learned orthopedic surgical techniques and GYN surgical techniques and neurosurgical techniques. And when I learned the techniques, I could apply them in every surgery. And so was I able to do it? Of course I was. We wrote the textbook. We wrote the scope of practice. We created a curriculum that we got approved for college credits, and we licensed it up for other schools to use. It came down to learning the techniques. Speaking is the same way. Speaking is techniques. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is they think, well, I'll just do it. I'll just jump out there. And you can. I could have just jumped into surgery too, but I probably wouldn't have had a 29-year career. I probably wouldn't have been able to go into surgery all over the country. That probably wouldn't have worked if I just thought I could do it without mentoring with someone that could teach me the techniques. And so what I would say is that I promise you there's some fundamentals, and when you get the fundamentals down, it will help you reach to the next level. And you don't have to rush it because speaking comes in layers. There's no way I could have learned surgery in a day. Mastery happens over time, not overnight. And I promise you this, Christy, if your doctor had learned surgery in a day, you probably wouldn't want him to be your doctor.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it takes time. This is the same time. This is the same thing. And here's what happens. So many times we get leery about wanting to put in the work. What difference does it make? I said, it took me 10 years to get that profession going. So what? I still got it going. You see, and so many times we want to speak, we want to train, we want to coach, we want to do it next week. So what if you had to take 2 or 3 years to master it? See, and so that's why it's cool to take the time to build in that foundation. But here's what I noticed, Christy, and let me just say this: most people, they don't put in enough work. Let me put it like this: most people, their preparation doesn't match their declaration. Let me put it like this: most people never run far enough on their first wind to find out if they have a second wind. They never run far enough. So they never catch the second wind. And what we have to do is we have to focus on staying in the race. We just keep going. And then after a while, you'll realize, oh, wait a minute, I've got this. It's time for the next level. Wait a minute, I'm catching my second wind. I'm learning some new techniques. This is getting a lot easier for me because they've stayed in the race. They keep putting it out there. They keep working on it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I really believe I really believe that if you don't quit, there's no doubt you will win. Oftentimes is really, if we try it and we don't succeed at the first instance, we have that tendency to quit. And once we quit, we can never win. So you are absolutely right.
That's it. Right. Once we quit, we can never win. And here's the thing. We look at people like Les Brown or Zig Ziglar or Tony Robbins and all these amazing individuals. Check this out. And everybody write this down. Just because someone is exceptional doesn't mean that they're the exception.
Ooh.
That's good, isn't it? Just because someone is exceptional doesn't mean that they're the exception. And a lot of times we think they're the only ones that can do it. No, that's not true. There's a lot of people that can do it, but you still have to put in the same work. So just because they're exceptional doesn't mean they're the exception. when I met Les Brown, I said, Les, one of the days you're going to call me and I'm going to go fill in for you. And he's like, yeah, okay, thank you, Ruben. I like it. But last year when he had an event in Detroit and he couldn't make it, he called me and he said, Ruben, I need you to go over to Detroit and cover for me. I said, yes, sir. But I had declared that way a long time ago when I first met him. But during that time, I was working and training and practicing and studying different speakers and learning quotes and doing these things. And then getting out there and speaking to small audiences and small groups that gave me the confidence to get in front of bigger audiences and bigger groups. Mastery happens over time, not overnight.
Mastery happens over time and not overnight. You know, for some of you that don't know who Dr. Ruben West is, what he didn't tell you that he was trained by the best, Les Brown. And, you know, I cannot thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for today. We can go on and on and on, but I wanted you to really talk about, I know you have something coming on next month, and I can't wait to be there. The second year in a row. So can you talk about what you have coming on next month?
Yes. So next month I'm doing my Black Belt speaker training. It's a live training experience. It's in Chicago, Illinois, April 6th, 7th, and 8th. Now, what makes my training unique is because it's an experience. That's the best way I can tell you. It's a training experience. And the reason I create the experience is because Nelson Mandela said, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, it goes to his head. But if you talk to them in their own language, or if you speak to them in their own language, it goes to their heart. And one of the things I try and do at my speaker training is help people open up their heart so they can communicate not from head to head, but from heart to heart. And so there's experiences and things that we do to help people do heart communication. Another thing is there's a lot of connections to be made. I'm here in Dublin, Ohio, and I did a men's conference this past weekend. I just did a networking event today, and I probably got 5 more men that have never been before that are coming to this conference. Why? So they can network with new people. They have platforms they want to invite people on, and they want to go on other people's platforms. So that's another thing that we do is we really make the connections that's going to help us. But it's a lot of training. I bring in some great trainers and some great speakers. It's a great time. And it's really a way to take your communication to the next level. My goal is to create world-class communicators over time.
Awesome. Audience, we are still listening to Dr. Ruben West. Again, you can go ahead and follow me on my YouTube channel at Rock Your Brilliance, YouTube channel at Rock Your Brilliance, or at my page at Rock Your Brilliance, at Rock Your Brilliance, no space. Every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I have Christy Iwuchukwu's Brilliance TV show where we spotlight the defining moments and accomplishments of today's top business leaders, entrepreneurs, and unique individuals. And this is where you come in because this show cannot exist without you. So please be sure to tune in next Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Dr. Ruben West, I appreciate you so much and thank you so much. Until next time.
Thank you. Let me just give them that website. Can I do that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
It is www.bbsliveevent.com. www.bbs for Black Belt Speakers, bbsliveevent.com. And Christy, please don't stop doing what you're doing. Someone needs to hear your show. Thank you.
Thank you so much.